Hey friends, happy Gratitude Day. It doesn't have to be Thanksgiving to focus and feel and appreciate all the awesome things that gratitude can do for your mind, for your emotions, for your manifestation. So I'm going to run through a lot of different things here in this kind of little mini workshop. I have a fair amount of science, and I've included the links in the description. And hopefully, given it's Thanksgiving time when I'm recording this, this can offer you or anybody you know who might appreciate it a few really great tools and reminders to shift into a much more grateful state, to have greater happiness, to have greater oomph and energy into your manifestations, and just to understand a little bit of brain science of this phenomenon which a lot of positive psychologists have talked about over time. And it's really nice to understand things like that. So the first reference I found is in Harvard Health Publishing Medical School about how giving thanks can make you happier. And I'm not going to read the whole article for you right now, and I'm not going to summarize it, but I'll just give you a brief snippet from it that when you focus on what you're grateful for, when you focus on what you appreciate, what you already have, maybe it's the room you're in, maybe it's the food you ate today, even really simple things, you focus on that appreciation, and whatever you think about and you feel good about, you embody those feelings in you. We don't often consider if we see a movie that has really positive messages or a lot of anger in it that we feel those things, but our mirror neurons activate when we, see those images, when we take in that content. But if you have ever experienced affirmations, if you've ever practiced evoking a certain state of mind, or if you're a performer, if you've ever used a green room, you might know that you can evoke really any emotional state at will. Now, the difference between knowing this is possible and doing it all the time is a pretty significant difference. And being able to do something, like any skill, speaking Chinese, doing backflips, playing the piano, depends on how often you do it. And as Dr. Joe Dispenza often writes, the more you engross a neural circuit, the more you activate certain wiring in your brain, the more you do a certain thing, the easier that thing becomes. So feeling grateful, happy, nourished, happy for this video, happy for whatever good thing recently came into your life, even pausing on the magic for a second, is actually a really effective and simple technique. And there's so many people out there, myself included, who throughout our lives, we look to put something in our body, something we ate, drank, smoked, did to feel better without maybe even remembering or embodying in that moment. You could just hold on to gratitude. You could just do the practice. You could say, in this moment, I feel grateful for X. And I encourage you to do that right now. Maybe pause the video and just say one thing. And even if you don't feel a massive rush of gratitude, even if you're trying to fake it till you make it, you'll get yourself in this habit. And if you do feel it, if you do feel that rush of warm, yummy, good gratitude when you say, I am grateful for something, think about that effect that has on your body, on your brain, on your mind, on your emotions, and on your life as a whole. Now, there's a lot out there about meditation. There's so much out there about routines. I have 3.5 hours of daily routines. I routinely coach and mentor and support people in creating the optimal daily routines for them. And if you think about the practice of saying, I'm so, so grateful for, X, that is a routine element which really can take 10 seconds. Sure, there's always the really big idea of, oh, do a gratitude journal for 15 minutes. Oh, every day, write down 10 things you're grateful for. But if you want to have a routine where you continuously feel good and happy and grateful for something in your life, just consider doing it once. Just consider that 10 seconds. You can do it anytime while you're standing in line, while you're about to eat. And the more you do it, the more you'll likely think of doing it. So I'd like to encourage you to take on the practice of any time you want to feel better about anything in life, just offering gratitude towards a thing. You have a big challenge? Thank you for this challenge so I can test, improve, and build my strength. Something good happens, you naturally feel gratitude from it. Thank you for this experience. I'm anchoring in this gratitude verbally with that statement. So adding a little bit more science on why this matters, why it's not just a neat idea, in the Greater Good magazine, Science-Based Insights for a Meaningful Life, they talked about a lot of different studies and a lot of different brain science on how gratitude affects us. So one interesting thing is their first point is they said gratitude unshackles us from toxic emotions. And I'm going to get into the brain regions and things like that in a second. But even just considering, the emotions that we can feel throughout the day, there's a lot of stress in our modern life. A lot of us have obligations, goals, challenges, surprises, and those emotions are toxic. Whether you consider it cortisol, which causes inflammation, whether you consider, anxiety or depression or anger toxic from however you would define that word. When you're in that state, when you're looping in those negative emotions, they're not good for you. They're not good for your body. They're not good for your mind. They're not good for your thoughts or decision making or planning. And I know you know this, right? But anytime you catch yourself in there, sure, you can reframe. Sure, you can look at the thing and deconstruct it and say, oh, well, here's the positive. But if you just pause and, if you're a Harry Potter fan, say, cast your Patronus charm of gratitude. But if you just say, I know there's something going on which I have to deal with, but regardless, I'm so grateful for the sun, like my next good meal, my or David's awesome, wacky, colorful clothing, whatever you would want to bring up, it can take you out of that loop. Now, this doesn't mean completely detaching. It doesn't mean avoiding. It doesn't mean the problem will magically go away. But there actually is also a fair amount of research that optimism gives you more creative options. It helps you think more creatively through the things in life that you're dealing with. So even just taking a moment away from feeling the problem, feeling the challenge, to feel a minute or two of gratitude, or again, even 10, 20 seconds, can actually help you overcome whatever you're working on. Now, another element that that article talks about is gratitude has lasting effects on the brain, and the benefits take time. So especially now in this modern age, especially in the San Francisco Bay Area where I live, we all want a quick fix. Right? There's so many plant medicines, so many drugs, so many people saying, oh, do this, it'll work instantly. There's a ton of YouTube videos based on that. But it takes a while to form the brain that you have, the thinking patterns, the thoughts, the emotions, the reactions that you have. So if you like the idea and premise of natural and holistic healing, building your strength, building your capabilities, naturally being in a positive, grateful state of mind, realize that a shift might happen over time. And if you're thinking, wow, I see David's videos, he's all cheery and positive, I want to be like that all the time. To be honest, I'm recording a video when I'm in a good state. I'm not recording a video when I'm full of, things in my own life I have to work towards. But if you see any positivity in the state I'm in now, and you see any positivity in yourself when you're at a better state, consider working up to incrementally getting there more often. Maybe that means 10 hours a day, maybe 15, maybe if you're in a really tough spot, and most days you go through are challenging, you're just like 1 or 2 hours of feeling better a day. Whatever it is, I'd encourage you to think about a rational set of goals to put around how you feel and how your brain works. And that goal is just very simply quantifying the amount of time you spend in a happy, grateful state during the day. Again, this isn't not looking at problems. This isn't denouncing anger or shadow or anything like that. But this is being able to be, the you that you like to be. All the things you have to do in life will, likely still be there, but the more you practice this, the more it'll boost up. So a simple way of taking a big goal of saying feeling good, happy, and grateful for 10 hours a day is make that a 100-day goal, where every 10 days you work up to adding 1 more hour. And if you already feel good, happy, and grateful for 3 hours a day, great, you have a head start. You can reduce it to 70. Now, of course, that's one structure. You don't have to take that exact thing into account. But if you're watching this video, if you're curious, how can you feel more grateful? It's do the work. One of my greatest teachers, Sifu Robert Brown in the Berkeley School of Martial Arts in Michigan, said, we practice for progress, we read for inspiration. And another excellent teacher named Reina said, most, if not all, change happens incrementally. So right now, think about maybe making a goal where you would have a gratitude practice for a certain number of days for a certain result. And just have that goal be realistic, understand what it can and can't do. It's not like smoking weed, it's not like having a drink, it's not like having anything on your wish list instantly appear, but it will shift you upwards, and each time you do it, it will wire your brain to being in that shift.